A tall, elderly, gray-haired man in an Italian-cut beige suit and maroon tie pushed through the front door and strode down a set of stone stairs to greet him. Cam had half expected a butler. Odd how a man who had bothered to lease a castle would choose not to stand on pretense. Marconi moved gracefully, his posture erect, his face familiar from his television commercials. He reminded Cam of the old Fantasy Island television show, with Ricardo Montalban as the urbane star. Of course, Cam realized Montalban also played the arch-villain Khan in the Star Trek series. "Welcome," his host said, offering a half-bow. Cam lowered his head in response. It would take him a while to get accustomed not to shaking hands, but he understood the new reality of life in the shadow of a pandemic. "Thank you for coming," Marconi said graciously. "Normally I would have met you at my office, but I wanted you to see the site of the shipwreck. A Roman shipwreck, based on what I have learned. I will, of course, pay you for your travel time." "Shipwreck?" Cam stopped. He had assumed the man had some Roman coins or perhaps a bust he wanted examined. "There's a shipwreck?" he blurted. Marconi smiled and gestured for Cam to follow. "Come, I will show you. Then we will have lunch." A lawyer by training, Cam had spent the better part of 2 decades wearing a suit to work and had reached the point where he let his work, not his clothes, speak on his behalf. But the elegance of his host, combined with the opulence of the mansion, contrasted sharply with Cam's khakis and blue golf shirt. He was glad he had at least tucked in the shirt. Following a path, they circled the mansion, passing over manicured lawns and through well-tended gardens. Cam moved gingerly, using a walking stick. It wasn't like running free in the park like a kid, but it sure was nice to be out of his wheelchair. A thumb of land north of Boston called Cape Ann jutted into the Atlantic. Crane Castle, in the town of Ipswich, sat at the bend where the inner part of the thumb met the palm. Marconi gestured with his chin as they passed through a line of shrubbery, the Atlantic opening in front of them. "We're facing northeast right now, but if you sail due east, there is nothing between here and Europe beside open ocean." Cam had done a little research on his host. "Speaking of crossing the ocean, it was your grandfather's company that transmitted the first transatlantic radio communication, right? From Cape Cod to England." Marconi stopped, turned, and smiled. "I am fortunate to descend from such a great man. There is a beach on Cape Cod named after him to commemorate that event. Marconi Beach. He would have been amazed at today's advances in wireless technology." Marconi stood on the slope below Cam, but his height allowed him to hold Cam's eyes. Cam smelled his earthy sandalwood cologne. "I believe I have discovered something that will be almost as important as my grandfather's work." Cam pursed his lips and nodded. A Roman shipwreck off the coast of Massachusetts would, as Marconi guessed, be a remarkable find.